You know, it's pretty wild when you stop and think about the unbelievable, unbroken chain of people that had to exist just for you to be here, right now. Well, we've got a story that makes that idea feel real. We're going to trace one American family's incredible journey across 13 generations and 400 years.
So our story both starts and ends with this guy, Randall Seaver. He's a retired engineer enjoying life down in sunny Southern California. But his family story? Oh, that started thousands of miles and centuries away in a world you and I would barely recognize.
So that's the big question we're tackling. How does a single family line make it from a tiny, windswept colony in 17th century Massachusetts all the way across a continent to the shores of the Pacific Ocean? Their story, really, is kind of the story of America itself.
To really get our heads around this, let's think of it like a relay race. I love this metaphor. Each generation gets the baton, the family line. They run their leg of the race, dealing with everything life throws at them, and they have one absolutely crucial job: pass that baton to the next runner. For this family, that race has been going on for 400 years.
Okay, let's head to the starting line. The year is 1620, and the first runner to light the torch for this race is a man named William White.
So William was what we'd now call a pilgrim, an English separatist. In 1620, he, his wife Susanna, and their young son packed up and boarded the Mayflower. They left everything behind for a shot at a new life. And he wasn't just along for the ride. He was a founder, one of the guys who signed the Mayflower Compact, the very first rule book for their new colony.
But man, things got real fast. This timeline just shows you the insane whiplash of life back then. In December, his son Peregrine is born, right there on the ship. An incredible moment of hope. But just a couple of months later, William himself is dead, a victim of that absolutely brutal first winter that wiped out nearly half the colonists.
And right here, this is it. The relay race almost failed on the very first lap. The torchbearer falls, but the baton, it doesn't drop. It's passed into the tiny hands of a newborn baby. Peregrine White, an infant, becomes the second runner, carrying the family line forward when all the odds were stacked against him.
All right, so with the baton safely in a new generation's hands, the race is on. For the next couple of hundred years, the family runs its leg of the race entirely within New England, slowly but surely putting down roots and staking their claim in this new world.
And you can see exactly how they did it right here, generation by generation. Peregrine grows up to be a landowner. His kids continue the line. For 2 whole centuries, they're people of the land, just inching a little further west with each pass of the baton. See that slow creep? From the Massachusetts coast, over into Rhode Island, and then into Connecticut.
Now, this is what I find so fascinating. The family's journey perfectly mirrors America's journey. For the first 200 years, on the left, they're farmers, landowners. Their lives are tied to the soil. But then, as America starts to industrialize, so does the family. On the right, you see the family's jobs change. Suddenly, they're blacksmiths, weavers, and factory workers. The country was changing, and they were changing right along with it.
So, after centuries of these small, incremental moves, the time came for a massive leap. This next part is all about the final, continent-spanning leg of this incredible 400-year race.
And the runner who would take the baton for this huge jump? It was the 12th man in line, Frederick Walton Seaver Jr. Born in Massachusetts, you'd think he was destined for the same life as his ancestors. But, world events had other plans.
The big game changer was World War II. Frederick served in the Navy, and that service brought him all the way out to California. While there, in 1942, he married a woman named Betty Carringer in San Diego. And after the war, instead of heading back to those New England mill towns, he decided to plant new roots on the Pacific coast. He became an insurance agent. He had done it. He completed the family's journey from ocean to ocean.
And with that move, the journey is almost complete. Frederick didn't just move himself to California. He passed the baton there. He brought that whole unbroken family chain all the way to the Pacific.
So, the final runner, number 13 in this long line, is Randall Seaver, the guy we met at the very beginning. Born in San Diego County in 1943, he represents the finish line of this specific 4-century-long relay.
400 years. Just let that sink in. From a tiny wooden ship in a frozen bay to the sprawling sunshine of modern California. An unbroken line of parents and children passing life forward through revolutions, a civil war, industrialization, and 2 world wars. It's just incredible. But here is the perfect ending to this whole story.
Randall isn't just the guy who crossed the finish line. He's also become the historian of the race. He's the one who's done the research, the DNA tests, the whole shebang, making sure the story of all those runners who came before him is never forgotten.
You know, Randall Seaver's story is remarkable, but in a way, it's not unique at all. Every single one of us is here because our own family ran its own epic, centuries-long relay race. Which really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Do you know the story of the runners who carried the baton just for you?